GM and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're doing a high-level overview of Kujira's BOW. We're going to go through the following subjects: what is BOW, the kind of use cases, how to use it, a full walkthrough of the interface, how to add liquidity on here, analyzing the various incentives that are applicable to some of these trading pairs, and finally removing our liquidity and getting our assets back into our wallet. So a full overview coming up. So get excited, let's jump into Kujira's BOW. So here we are on the main interface. As you can see, my wallet is currently logged in. We are good to go over here. Now this is the main landing page for Kujira BOW, and it says welcome to BOW. So what is BOW? Essentially, this is the liquidity layer of Kujira. This is where you provide liquidity to the Fin markets. That is the DEX here on Kujira. So they state BOW is an innovative framework optimizing trading pairs on Fin, Kujira's decentralized exchange. So why would you want to use BOW and add liquidity to a market? Well, first and foremost, you can get yield for doing so. So say you have two assets idle in your wallet, you can pair them together in an LP position, become a liquidity provider, and you're going to start receiving swap fees on that market. Then additionally, there may be incentives as well, which can boost the APR that you receive, thus greater yields. There's quite a bit of incentivization on here, which is a very interesting dynamic. If you are then providing liquidity, what you're doing is reducing the amount of spread between the bid and ask on the DEX, driving deeper liquidity to the DEX, and so more traders will come and use it, which is an overall positive to the flywheel of Kujira, where stakers are getting constantly rewarded from all activity on these dApps. BOW is also very capital efficient. The algorithm they use ensures liquidity is only added to cover the range of prices on the order book. This is a lot more efficient than other AMMs, automated market makers, where they sometimes will just provide liquidity across a full spectrum of price ranges, which is a lot less capital efficient, and so you wouldn't get as high yields. So the main takeaway is you can generate yield here on your assets and also provide liquidity to this overall ecosystem, which will help drive more adoption and staking rewards. So from here, we're going to go into the actual interface. We're going to start off with the dashboard by clicking on the dashboard button. So this is a very intuitive interface, and it just takes you through the steps one by one. So when you log in, if you have not currently got an open position, so if you're not currently providing liquidity like I am, you would actually not have anything on here. You can see my open positions on here, and I can actually click into this to manage said position. But we'll continue on to pools. So from this main interface page, you can see all the available liquidity pools. There are lots of them on here. Starting at the top, we have featured pools. These are ones typically with a good amount of value locked in them and some of the highest APRs. So the most incentivized pools are listed on here as well. So these are some of the ones that are key to the Kujira ecosystem overall. And so they have a bit of a special placing here. You can see there's 6 listed. And then if you just keep scrolling down, you can see all the available liquidity pools down here. The same details are posted on here. We'll just go through them really quick. So as you can see, we have 2 quoted assets. So this liquidity pool here would be for Kuji to USK, the stablecoin. The order book size shows us on the left the amount of Kuji tokens in this LP, and the amount of USK is listed on the right. Then we have the total liquidity, the combination of both of these. Then we have the APR. It says combined. So this is a combination of the swap fees generated on this pair plus any farming incentives. As you can see, this pool is incentivized by both Kuji rewards and Fury rewards as well. It also lets you know if you've got a balance in this position, the actual amount of this balance, and if you've got any stake in here as well. We'll go into this in more detail, but essentially this is if you have the liquidity provider tokens of this pair, and then if you've staked them, you need to stake them to get the farming incentives. So think of this, if you've just got an LP balance, you're just receiving swap fees, but if you stake it then on top of that, you're then getting the farming incentives additionally. So just further down, we have all the liquidity pools. There are tons and tons on here. So you can find your favorite assets on here. You could look for the best incentivized pools. How would you do that? Well, you would come to the APR combined here, click on it, and then see the highest APR overall. Again, this interface is going to show us the two assets in this various liquidity pairing, the total liquidity, and APR. If it can be calculated, it goes on a 21-day countback, so not applicable for brand new markets. APR combined, so the swap fees plus incentives on top, your LP in here, a notification as to whether your LP is unstaked or not, and then the incentives with the logo of the incentive token. In this case, that is the logo of Manta from Manta DAO, and that is the Kujira one there, the Kuji logo. We've also got a search bar top right hand corner, so let's type in Kuji. You can see from the interface here, I'm already providing LP to the Kuji USK pool, but in this example, let's add some LP to Kuji to Axelar USDC. So I'm going to click on the open button to the right hand side. From here on the right hand side corner, you can see there's an incentivized logo. So this tells you there are incentives applicable to this LP pair. And down here we have all the stats we saw on the previous page. The incentives here are in the Kuji token itself. More on that in just a second. And if we just keep scrolling down here, it states the current market making position. So this is where the LP tokens are currently positioned for this trading pair. Right in the middle, you have the spread between the asks and the bids. And as it states in the strategy, it runs a constant product-based market-making strategy on the Kuji Axelar USDC market. Fees are earned from limit order spreads. Now, a nice feature here is if you add liquidity, there's no lockup. You can remove it at any time. So your assets are literally at your own disposal. So if the market does move quite quickly and you know about impermanent loss, well, maybe you want to take your tokens back out and just hold the original assets. Impermanent loss occurs when you have a divergence in the price of any two assets from the price at which you entered the LP pair. I have a full impermanent loss video on my channel. You may want to check that one out and understand the implications before you start providing liquidity. Further down here on the interface, we have more information on the contracts. So you can see the pair contract data here. You can also view the LP pool on Finder. That is the blockchain itself. And you can see the incentive contract as well. So obviously this is all on blockchain, very transparent. You can look through everything if you so wish. And then further down here, this is where we have the additional incentives. So this is a pretty cool part of it. Anyone can actually provide incentives to a pool. It doesn't have to specifically be the team. There can also be multiple incentives running at the same time. And so it makes for quite an interesting place to check through on a regular basis and see if there's nice incentives coming on various pools. If there is, you may want to provide liquidity to those pools to extract some of that additional value. I would at this point highly recommend joining the Kujira Telegram to stay up to date. There's two types of incentives on here. You have decreasing linear incentives, i.e. the daily rewards go down each and every day until they go to zero eventually, like this one here. You can see 30,000 Kuji is the total amount of incentives between the 14th of December 2022 and the 13th of June 2023. That is the emission schedule of those incentives. So still a few more weeks from the recording of this video for these incentives to continue. But as you can see, they're diminishing, getting smaller over time. And here we have a linear incentive structure of 1 Kuji being dispersed from the period 2nd of December 22 through to the 14th of July 2023. As you can see, that's pretty flat on the floor there because 1 Kuji token as an incentive across that whole time frame is obviously just a very small fraction there. Hence the green line is on the floor. So back near the top of this page, we're going to start adding some liquidity here. So as you can see, there's a big blue button that says provide, or you could click there in the middle tab to go to the provide section. So my current LP balance is 0. I have no Kuji or AXL USDC added to this pool, but I do have a balance on hand here. So what I need to now determine is how much of these tokens am I going to add to the liquidity pool. And in this example, I was thinking of adding just 50 Kuji. So I'm going to type in 50 there. And what you can see on the bottom is it's giving me the up-to-date market calculation. 50 Kuji is worth $46.40 in Axelar USDC, because when we enter an LP position, liquidity pool position, you're pairing up the two assets in a 50-50 ratio. So both of these will be the same dollar amount. Now, bear in mind, if you've got, say, a lot of one asset, but not the other, and you need to top up the other asset, there is a swap feature on here. So if you just scroll back up, All the way to the top here, there is a swap button, a neat interface, letting you convert some of your tokens. So everything can be done directly through BOW on the interface, makes it very user-friendly and intuitive. But back to making that deposit, 50 Kuji tokens, approximately $46.29 in Axelar USDC. You can keep the slippage as low as possible, but to add this liquidity, you have to accept the terms and conditions. Do give those a read through before progressing. Toggle that across, and then this button lights up, deposit liquidity. At this point, we deposit our funds, and we have to do an on-chain transaction, as this is all done on-chain in real time. Now, once this deposit goes through, it just stated successful up there. You can now see I've got some LP tokens. So if you just go up as well, you can see it here, my LP balance. So it's now showing me on the navigation tool up here to go and stake those tokens. So at this moment in time, I will receive the swapping fees on that LP pair, but I won't be receiving any incentives. In order to get incentives, I click on stake, and then it shows me unstaked LP, a big warning here. So I'm not making the most of my capital, not very efficient. Let's go ahead and stake those tokens to get the incentives, those Kuji incentives. As we know, this is incentivized. So from here, all I need to do now to get those incentives is to stake. So I'm just going to click on the max icon here, stake all of those LP tokens. Click stake, and then yet again perform an on-chain transaction. I have to pay a small amount of Kuji in gas to do so, and that will go through and be successful in just a second. There we go, it's successful. So what we're going to do now is go back to the overall dashboard, and we can see my positions. So now we have 2 positions live on here. The one I just added, Kuji to Axelar USDC, and the other one, Kuji to USK, which has been running for a little bit of time now. As you can see at the bottom, it neatly tells us your LP balance, your stake, as we have staked those LP tokens, and the rewards. So these are currently now rolling in. Every single block, this will slowly go up and up and up. And if you check to the right-hand side from earlier, I staked this LP position, Kuji to USK, and you can see I'm getting rewards in 2 incentive tokens, Kuji and Fury. So how would we go about claiming these incentives once they build up a bit? Well, what we can do is click on this tab once again. And now if we just scroll down a bit, neatly on the interface, you have unclaimed rewards. Go to claim. Okay, we'll click on that. And from here, it's neatly showing us our staking rewards are coming in here, and you can claim these at any time. Probably not the most efficient to do so right now, as it's going to probably cost me more Kuji to actually make the claim, as it's an on-chain transaction, than the actual amount of rewards here. But you can see this is how the interface works. It navigates you through step by step very easily. You can't really get lost, and there's loads of these helpful little reminders showing you where to go and what to do. So jumping back to the pools page here, we're going to scroll through this one more time, past all the featured pools yet again to the all liquidity pools. And here you can start to see the My LP, and we can see the ones populated. So here, Kuji to Axelar USDC, my 47 LP tokens are in there. And just further down, my Kuji to USK LP tokens are also in there as well. So a pretty neat interface, very easy to navigate. As I say, you shouldn't really get too far lost on here, and it's pretty easy going as everything is neatly laid out for you. So back to the dashboard now, the final hurdle. Right, we've got our LP tokens. Maybe we want to now get our individual assets back. I want, rather than the LP position, to have my Kuji and my Axelar USDC separated back and given to me in my wallet in the top right. How do we go about doing that? Okay, we're going to click on the card yet again. So as you can see, it's lit up a little bit in white. Click on it. So we scroll down a bit. We go to the stake page because we've staked the LP. And what we will need to do is actually unstake this LP now. So on the right hand side, you have unstake. You would therefore click max if you want to remove the full LP position. So in this case, I will. I'll click on unstake and then approve this on chain via my wallet. That has just gone through successfully. We now go back up. It now shows me that my unstaked LP is there. We're going to go to the provide tab. And this is where you now need to withdraw those LP tokens. So we have the units, 47.67 LP tokens stated. They're no longer staked. I can easily withdraw them. I click on max and withdraw liquidity. And this again requires an on-chain transaction. And now, once this is successful, those coins will go back to my wallet. I will have Kuji tokens and AXL USDC again. We can see this in the wallet top right hand corner there. Finally, just to check, we'll go back to the dashboard one more time, and there you can see I only have that one open position, LP for Kuji to USK. So this should provide a very useful starting guide of how to provide liquidity to the markets here on BOW, so people can trade these assets over on the Fin DEX. You also want to make sure you're looking at all the available incentives. They can be highly lucrative, and do ensure you stake your LP tokens as well to maximize those yields. I hope you found this one helpful. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.